Hello, today we have the pleasure of doing a TED Talk about the murder of social leaders in Colombia. Lately, during the last years, there have been killed 431 social leaders between the 1st January of 2016 and the 21st of December of 2018, just for standing against the government and for protecting human rights of Colombian citizens. Due to this, many of them had received funeral bouquets with writing messages saying "Rest in peace" at the streets. On the whole country, many social leaders have denounced injustice that have been done against the citizens by the government, and because of this, they have been silenced by killing them. The departments where more social leaders could have been murdered are Cauca, Antioquia, Valle del Cauca, Norte Santander, and Putumayo, Nariño and Corda, Meta and Caquetá. With the progressive growth of corruption in Colombia and with the culture we already have that is about ones that things different are needed to be silenced violently, and they can think different than what the government thinks. Because of this, many people throughout the past of the years have been murdered because of thinking differently. Having as an example Jorge Eliezer Gaitan, who was a leader going against the government that was in that time. That's why he was murdered, as well as Galan's case and many other social leaders. The murdered people cost Colombia a ranking of the worst protection of social leaders.
Colombia has a long history of violence and many problems because the lands taken by armed groups have not been restored to the victims. Due to the need of having these properties for having the power, a part of the narcotraffic, that's why many groups have been created at the low margin with the purpose of restoring things, and social leaders have defended the human rights, and many of them have been killed because of this due to the growth of corruption. We have looked forward to solving this case of corruption. Just in 218, there were 200 murders of social leaders, but many of them weren't taken into account. The state had been inefficient to avoid the murders of social leaders. They haven't assured their own security because of the corruption. That's why they take away social leaders' security to give it politicians and high range. And that's the reason of having a higher percentage of social leaders murders than politicians. These human rights defenders have tried to give more importance to the less favored of Colombian society, such as farmers and the low social class.
During 2017, there have been announced 270 tweets against social leaders. Meanwhile, in 2018, they increased to 240%. Also, there were 500 tweets against social organizations. From those murders, less than 10% of them had an advance in judicial process. Just in 2018, 172 social leaders have been killed, from which 158 were men and 14 women. But from the 1st of January of 2016 till 31st December 2018, there had been murdered 431 social leaders and people defending human rights, in their majority being related to community actions boards, indigenous, farmers, and colored people. The Colombian stats say that in Colombia always the social leaders had been killed. 83% of murders committed were in Cauca, Antioquia, Valle del Cauca, north of Santander, Putumayo, Caquetá, Nariño, Córdoba, and Chocó. The murder increase coincided with electoral time. An ONU report says the Science Definition of the Peace Accord of 2016 also verified 163 murders of social leaders and human rights defenders, and there have been informed 454 cases. Just between the 1st of January of 2018 and the 17th of November of 2018, there were reported 226 social leaders murders, number that is increased increasing, while in 2017 were reported 196 murders of them, and in 2016 were 96. To many social leaders there have been sent many threats. For example, funeral blockets saying "read" of with their names as the sentence. The 10th of July of 2018, the defender of human rights, Iris Ojeda Lopez, received a death threat. President of the Federation of Farmers in the Coast that has been leading a process of lands in rural zones in the district of Riohacha. They say that in the morning a taxi arrived on her front door in the capital of the Guajira, from where two people descended and knocked on the door for more than a half an hour with any responsible. They left a package in front of the door. Firstly, they thought it was a man, but later they realized that there were flowers. They made people call the security system of the quadrant, saying that it was a crown of flowers writing in it "rest in peace." She also has suffered two attacks against in 2012 and 2017. The murder will be the 27th of December of 2018 in Terraza with a gun Javier Enrique Tapias and Irma Yanei Restrepo, which had a motorcycle as transport. Tapias, 56 years old, was a social leader of a town of Cauca, Azocbac, a member of Community Action Board. Another example is that the 29th of December in Valle Solano, between bushes, was found the corpse shot of Meye Sarko do Kirama, an indigenous social leader of Embera community, 22 years old, and on Saturday, on the 2 of Ricardo was murdered with a gun. The indigenous governor of the reservoir Inguyu, Gardener Alejandro Pascal Pay, and his wife was seriously injured. We usually got our minds prepared for these stats.
A possible solution would be that security for social leaders is given more importance, being attentive with what they say and they did be treated as the politicians of high range are treated, because they need protection in a country surrounded with so many insecurity, where nobody is free of expressing themselves. We know that the country there has been a long story of those who have been killed for expressing differently of what government thinks. Also, the implementation of significant rewards for those who give information of the perpetrators of those crimes. Or possibly, or possible solution is that the government applies expensive contribution social layer security, giving them a new protection system, and that the national police will be more attentive of them because nowadays they don't give enough prison. Also, a government should resolve the actions for protecting social leaders that hadn't given results, improving the action of the law due to the announces of social leaders for their protection, because in Colombia we already know that justice is very slow. Also, impunity judged as they are supposed to. They are being forgiven because of the crimes they committed. There should be a protection, the mechanism of existence, protection decree 1066 and 2015, and the program of protection for people who are in risk, that has to provide the prevention of social leaders being murdered, and there is needed to investigate about the perpetrators. If we hadn't changed our thoughts, Colombia would have been collapsed of inequality.
If we weren't many corruption as there is in Colombia and they stopped paying for politician security, there will be a way to give social leaders the protection necessary. Because in the protection of this politician, there are many millions of dollars invested. Meanwhile, with the prevention, investigation, and protection of social leaders, we could make a change. We know that Colombia is a country of difference. That's the reason why there has been people who had fought for equality. But if these people have suffered of many crimes due to the lack of protection they are given. If in Colombia there were a system of protection, prevention, and investigation of social leaders, there would be less murders of the case mentioned before. And if Colombia we accepted our people's opinion, in Colombia there's no peace because there are many crimes and we still have a long way to construct peace. This doesn't mean to exterminate the opponent or make agreements without serious needs. There is a long and complicated path, but at the end of it, it will lead a real peace. The politicians have their pockets full of money. Thank you a lot for listening this TED Talk.